Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is Leora with Diamonds from the Rough. Today we are doing part 2 of the Victorian Eastlake Queen chair, taking it from this point where we had broken it down to the skeleton. Without further ado, let's get started. I found all the bits of wood that were not just shreds that didn't fit back in place. Here is as much as I could reconstruct. We've got glue everywhere and clamps everywhere. The glue should be dry. See why I still want to reinforce this with nails, because all the wood is still not there. I'm going to use my Ryobi Airstrike nail gun with pretty short nails. As always, pointy side facing out. This is a Ryobi 1 system, which means all my tools are battery operated and I only need one battery. And then I don't have to actually buy the tools with the battery attached. They are way cheaper. I need to make sure it doesn't go through where the dowels will fit through. And now I feel confident that this whole thing will hold together when I attach it in the front. Let me just say, I put way more hours into these furniture flips than is strictly profitable. Put a lot of love into it. So last night, I stripped by hand all of the finish off of this leg. This is what it started looking like, and this is what it is underneath it. This is maple. Maybe I don't want to cover it all in paint. That's a weird concept for me, but I haven't decided yet. Don't get excited. My concept involves color. It may also involve some stain, maybe kind of a lot of stain. Honestly, paint would highlight those imperfections way more than stain would. The wood is honey toned and this stain is just kind of mid. It's nothing special. It's not deep, it's not rich, it's not chocolatey. We're gonna redo it. Probably gonna be some paint here. Just become one with the idea, but I still respect my wood. So here's the plan. I am going to continue scraping these flat areas with my flat scraper. I am going to try the acetone removal option, where you basically wrap a rag dipped in acetone around it and let it eat away the varnish. What have I got to lose? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And acetone is cheap. I do have some furniture stripper. That just seems like way too much mess. Let's move on to trying this acetone thing. What do you think? I am wearing my PPE. I have my respirator, not just my dust mask, because I'm going to be pouring a lot of acetone, and we're gonna pour it pretty liberally onto my towels. I'm gonna open my window right behind me. Oh, also gloves, keeping in mind that it is winter, so I don't really want to have the windows open too much. I don't know if this did anything, to be honest. It's been, I don't know, half an hour. But I guess maybe when the wood itself dries out, I'll be able to tell. It feels like it is, but it doesn't look like anything really came off. So I don't know. Stay tuned. So this is the leg that I did with just the carbide scraper. This guy right here, it worked very well. This was done by soaking it in the acetone. And this was done with the amount of effort that it took to put the towel on and then take it off. This, very minimal work, very cheap product, pretty effective. The difference that I see is in the color. I think my experiment proved the acetone works. I have to issue some warnings and give you some information that I did not have when I started. With the acetone, you should be wearing more heavy industrial gloves than just the little latex ones, especially if they break. I realize that what you dip your nails in when you're getting your nails done, which clearly I do, is acetone, but the strength that you soak your fingers in and the strength of what comes out of a hardware store jar, probably not the same. You don't want it on your skin. Definitely wear some heavier gloves. The towels themselves, I should have made sure that it was open and let it dry completely, and you don't pile them up. A fire can start a chemical reaction. I wanted to warn everybody once I learned about it. Be very, very careful. It works. I'm excited about it because that is cheaper than stripper, less messy, takes less time. All you have to do is leave it on there and then let it soak, and then wipe it off. I do feel like I got a really complete job done with the scraper, but if I can save myself a whole bunch of hours, it's probably just a better use of my time. So the next steps are going to be to make my last little repairs on this chair body and then to re-glue everything that's already here. We're gonna attach the legs back onto these dowels. I have my I have my Tight Bond Ultimate Wood Glue. So now I've got the glue all over. I've got it inside, outside, all around. And now I'm gonna let this sit while I go play poker. This is the fun part. I love rebuilding seat cushions from the bottom up. Now that the frame is fully put back together, I'm using my jute webbing and my staple gun, and then a stretcher tool that pulls that jute webbing way tauter than I could do it by hand. And then I'm supposed to weave that one. I missed that one. Then you're supposed to weave the cross jute, and that will give you the strength to bear weight. I also did my own thing. Up at the top, I included some additional bands of jute to give some more support across where you would lean back, and then I put in a liner of burlap. Let's talk foam. I don't want to have to spend a lot of time eyeballing and cutting smaller and smaller, and I also don't want to cut too small because then I'm hosed. I have made a schematic based on strict measurements with a measuring tape and also a little bit of eyeballing for the curves. I'm not cutting out a square chair, and I don't want to accidentally nip off like the front where your legs would be and have your legs resting on the wood. That would be bad. Based on measuring from back to front, side to side, the width at the widest point, minus these little squares where the legs attach, minus where I'm going to have to do a cutout for the armrests, and between these two bars as well. I wanted to make sure that I do not cut too much, but if you have to continue to trim and trim and trim, you're going to spend a lot of time. Time is money when you're refinishing furniture, so you don't want to spend a lot of time doing something that's unnecessary if you just measure the first time. Look, mistakes were made. I learned later that I had a faulty logic here, but you know what? I was pretty proud of this at the time, and I learned, and that's all that really matters, because when I do my next one, I already know ahead of time what to fix. But look at this final result. I mean, that's pretty amazing. It is time for the cotton batting. The cotton batting is what you're going to feel when you lean back. So we're going to add a little bit of puff, and then we're going to lock that in with some bonded Dacron, and then we're going to put our finished fabric over the top of this. Get you some of these scissors if you don't have them. We're going to put the cotton batting underneath the bonded Dacron. Because it's harder to staple in here and pull, I'm going to anchor it at the bottom, and then I'm going to use this extra fabric on this side to pull it taut. I didn't want to rip the bonded Dacron because it's pretty delicate, so I did fold it under and give it a double layer before I did my stapling. I want to make a disclaimer that I am not a professional upholsterer, and this is the way I do it. This is not the way necessarily everybody should do it. So please take from me what you will. Now it's a blank canvas and ready for its next layer of fabric. I'm working on getting some gray down on these little accent pieces, and that's going to pick up the paper that's going to go right there. I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do with the paint blend, but I made the background fabric a faux leather, also in the shade that would work with it in case I wanted to make the whole thing red, but I ended up painting over all of it, but it's always good to have a good paintable surface. It's been one of those experiences with trying to make videos, which always goes badly, wherein I have repeatedly forgotten to hit start on my recording. So let me tell you where I'm at and show you what I've done that you didn't get to see, but hey, you know what? At least the video is not going to be an hour long. What I've done is multiple coats. I did 3 coats of a gray color on my armrests because that's where people might touch a lot, so I want to do an extra coat. And gray is, you know, not necessarily the best covering color out there, so I wanted to make sure we had lots of coverage. I'm going to give it a little bit of an aging technique because, of course, this chair is old and I don't want anything to look freshly painted. On the back, I have placed a fabric. This is not the fabric, so stop clutching your pearls. I know this is awful. This color, this pattern, while great for maybe like an outdoor cushion on your patio, not what I'm going for with this particular chair. We're going to put something much more beautiful, much more grandiose, much more queenly to go with what's going to go on the front. But this is my replacement for the linen since I don't have any. I just wanted to make sure I was holding in all of the burlap, holding in my additional fluff that's coming through from the front, my padding, and also the bonded dacron. Did I put bonded dacron back here? I don't remember. Did I? I did not. It's just burlap. This is just going to hold everything in to make sure that no fibers, no fluff comes through. I've pulled this as tight as I can get it, and because it does stretch a little bit, at some point you're going to get some wrinkles. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Don't panic. Yes, now you can clutch your pearls. I got this one off of Zazzle, and it's from something called Paper Designs Italia. This is a rice paper for decoupage. I've had it for a couple of years now, and I've been waiting for the right piece. This is literally the exact size that I need. It's the exact width that I need. It's the exact feeling that I'm going for. This is the one. This is the one. I do wish she didn't have a line in her because she's been folded for so long. Do you hear the kitties crying out there? They want in. So I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of touching up on that. I don't know if it's going to steam out or iron out. You may be wondering, why am I working so much on all this stuff before I even have a seat cushion? And the reason is because I don't want to have to paint or drip or anything like that potentially onto my finished cushion. I will wait to do my outside trim until the very end. One other thing I did right before I left for work today was put on its little underpants. This is the dust cloth tissue, almost kind of like the rice paper, and it just is to keep the dust out. Shall we get into it? Standard treatment for decoupage paper. I gave it an iron and a steam, and then I used some water on a paintbrush and gently tore away the edge the way I wanted it, which was not a complete rectangle, made it a little bit interesting. And then I used top coat, paste down the paper and make sure that the edges were very, very well adhered so that they would not lift up when I painted. Finally, I gave it another coat of top coat over the whole thing and let it dry. Ain't she a beauty? Typically, you want to do a white background behind a decoupage, but I really kind of want to keep it dark, and I don't mind that it mutes the color a little bit. So if you wanted it to be very stark and very bright, you would definitely want to put a white background for it to lay on because that will make all the colors pop a lot more. I told you she was going to look good. She's so intimidating. Friday, there is a soft market, which is a flea market, but it's for fabrics. And I want to go check that out before I make my final decision on what's going to go on the seat. And in 2 days, when I get potentially some new fabric, I can finish up. Or if I don't find anything, I have a backup fabric that I think is still going to be great. But if I find something amazing, I might switch it out. Welcome to the German soft market. This was the coolest experience, and I wish I'd had a little bit more time there. I got there right before they closed, so I only had time to whip through and look at some of the fabrics that were just not going to be appropriate for upholstery, but were so pretty I had to stop and look and take pictures. but I'm gonna go back and get those for later. Anyway, I was able to go find one table that had nothing but upholstery fabrics, and I picked up these gorgeous samples of fabric. And when I say sample, I mean yards upon yards, or rather meters upon meters of fabric that I got for a price that would in no way come close to what's in the States. I got all of this fabric, which was, I believe, 9 different designs in 3 to 12 feet per fabric for less than $250. And there's no way I could have bought upholstery fabric in this quantity for that price in the States. So this was a great deal, and I will definitely be checking them out. I'm gonna leave the video here because it's getting long, so come back and check out part 3 to see the final reveal of this gorgeous queen chair. Thanks for watching.